continuing work on the Viper and the Enterprise. Now, I call this a two-kit build, but invariably one is going to start to take precedence over the other. You really can't build them completely in tandem. And for right now, I seem to be concentrating my efforts more on the Viper. And those efforts sometimes come with a price, my dear friends. You don't appreciate the magnitude of the hit that I take in order to make these templates as accurate as I can. There are things that I inflict on me that I wouldn't wish on anybody else. Things I've seen that I can't unseen. Things that I've seen that I can't unsee. See, I'm still choked up about it. I can't even speak its name out loud, but I can give you a hint. Yes, it is the show which dare not speak its name. So many bad things about it, but it did have extensive use of the full-scale Viper prop. I don't know if it was repainted between the time of the original series. I've run out of battery. So yes, it appears that even the battery gods were rejecting the notion of having to look at that show. So I had to let it go and charge up for a little bit. But I want to show you something that I discovered and I won't show you too much of the episode, so you don't have to worry about too much exposure, other than you will see Dr. Z. I'm afraid there's no way around it. But here's a curiosity that I want you to see. This is off of my screen, so the glowing figure in the foreground is obscured for his own benefit. Notice something about the Viper, the full-scale model. I don't know if I cannot zoom in on it. I want you to notice this. There's no paint there. It's all the same white as the rest of it. We can't have that. Look at the back of those engines. Also white. Like I said, I can't find any record of the full-scale prop being repainted anytime after the show for the new show. I wonder if this has something to do with the City of Light, where, you know, the episode where everybody's uniforms turned white. I don't know whether they repainted the greeblies behind the engine bells white, but why wouldn't they make the stripes white? Why did they repaint the stripes? So, you know, that could be that they repainted the stripes and the gray stripes after painting the whole ship white. I don't know, but it's a curiosity that in the show we're not mentioning, that the all the detail in there is white. So let me see if I can find one more example of this. Hold on. Yes, that's the Viper on the ground, and yes, that is a motorcycle coming out of some sort of compartment underneath that we have yet to ever hear about. And I'm not even going to get into the two-seater canopy or the two-seater cockpit on this. But what I want you to notice again, no paint there. No paint there at all. And the engines, black on the inside, no detail on the back of the ship at all. None of those pipes or anything. So if you're a purist about making this full-size Viper, then you realize you may want to do some extensive surgery. I guess it's kind of like the you know, how the full-sized Enterprise was never finished on one side. So okay, you take your if you're really going to make it accurate, you close up all those windows. But I want to notice that, and there's, I'm sorry, I don't mean to make you watch this. Let me close it down. Also noticeable in, there's one more great shot. Sorry, one more great shot. No dark paint in here. No dark paint in here, no metallics. There's that open secondary cockpit. There is the garage for the motorcycle. They're about to hit their invisibility beam. Also, I think they put this tow hold in here before. It wasn't there. And I believe that's a model shot behind it, superimposed. I don't think they had two full-size mock-ups. But notice the lack of weathering. These are almost brand new pristine ships, which kind of lends me to thinking about whether or not they were repainted for the second series or not. So you've got some weathering up here on the top wing. If I can get in on it. You've got some streaking on that wing, but the ship itself is remarkably clean. So there is precedent for making your ship, if you're going to be, emulating the full-size mock-up, of making it fairly clean. The gun here is all one color. Just things to notice. Unfortunately, that makes for a rather boring paint job on the Viper. And what I've chosen to do is to take the decals from the, or not the decals, but the paint, the striping scheme from the full size, and of course the landing gear from the full size, but to put it on a idealized version of the filming miniature. Now here is, let me lay this down and flip it around so you can see it good. Here is the back half of the Viper. This is with all of the stripes painted. I've gone through and I've picked at the camo gray where it needed to be touched back up. If you recall, there was this one spot right in here where I needed to re-establish that line. And I've also painted into details, the copper and the silver details, into the greebly section. And this is still the original primer gray. Now I may dust over that primer gray with the camo gray to lighten it up some, but I'm not going to make it the same body color as the rest. And of course the back panel I may touch up as well. But this has a coat of satin finish on it, and this is as far as I can go with this half of the ship before I get back to this, before I can add that to it. And to do that, I really need to put the cockpit in and finish it off. I also went back, remasked these windows, and sprayed a coat of the lighter camo gray on the cockpit canopy. You can see the darker color still on the inside, which is kind of nice. It gives you a darker reveal when you look through the window. You see the bar from the other window, and it's a nice darker color. I realized I had painted it too dark, and it actually was closer to the body color. That's why I went back over it again. But this is the Viper as she stands until I get the cockpit and the front end in. And of course get the engines lit up, because they'd be ashamed to not light those up. But that's the state of the Viper. And now that you see what it looks like, let's take a little trip back in time, to a couple of days ago, so I can show you how it was done step by step. Okay, starting on the fun stuff. We're going to work on getting the stripe templates in place, and we're going to do this by a method I call bait and switch, and not the evil kind. What I'm going to do is, again, we're going to be doing this side, and I'm taking the template that I have created for this side of the top. Come on, off the template set. What I'm doing is I'm taking the inside, the actual shape of the stripe, and I am laying it. And I'm checking my instructions ever so carefully. Laying it where I want it to be in finished real life, which puts it puts it right there. Okay, so there's the finished position of where that stripe wants to be. So now that I've got that, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the surrounding blank area and I'm going to lay that down around the area where the stripe is. Since I know where the stripe wants to go, and I know the shape of the stripe, so what I need to do, cover that back up, here, this will go better if I don't have eyes. This will go better if I do it without a camera on me. Hold on. Okay, you can see, basically all you missed while I was gone was a little bit of me cussing. But now we've got the piece that was on there to begin with, and the surrounding piece surrounding it. Duh. So, see, when I take my glasses off, I can't see where I've put anything. And I had it perfectly good exacto here just a few seconds ago. If you see it, scream out. Here it is. So now that I've got that, I can go back in here. Come on. There we go. Okay. And now I've got a stripe-shaped hole where I'm going to be spraying. Now, all I need to do after this is, and I do not see that here, it must still be in the other room. I'm in the midst of not redecorating again, but reorganizing, and it has left me somewhat disheveled. What I'm going to do is put, painter's tape out here and over here just to block off the area where the actual orange reddish stripe paint will go. But that's one side, and let me do one of the wings just for further illustration. Let me see. Let me cut, and I need this one. Again, thrilling stuff here, so bear with me. Okay. Here we've got a wing, a stripe that's going to go on this wing. Oh, a little further down. It should start at the edge, follows that nice panel line. Sorry, let's get it up here where the camera can see it. Okay, that's where the stripe, the painted stripe, will live. So what I need to do is, again, take this surrounding piece, and I found it best to start in the inside corner of that design to line everything up. So there's that. And if you don't mess around with the vinyl too much, it will go back to its natural shape, but you can stretch it beyond repair or recognition, so you might want to be a wee bit gentle with it. Okay, and when you have got it to where you don't see a lot of light between the cut, there you go. See, that's putting it right back in place. Now, removing the original stripe we had put down for position, now we have a masked out hole where the paint goes. And again, like I said earlier, you would masking tape this area off and this area off. Okay, take some trial and error, but I think I've got some recommendations for you. If you're doing the full scale, which is what I'm doing the full scale 1-to-1 mock-up set piece, and it has the dotted line, the dotted stripe here. They're smaller and closer together than the other one. That's what the template set is trying to emulate. And I was thinking about how to best line them up, and of course I went through some mistakes on the other side, but I think I've got some recommendations for how to set these up for this side. Of course, you're going to line up the back edge of these openings with this plate. This, hate to use the word grid line, but this plating line. You'd line it up there, but you cheat it just enough so that these little blocks are fully raised, or are fully inside these empty shapes, because if not, then you have to try to span this tiny strip over top and back down, and you're going to get paint creep underneath that. There's not a real good way of really working the vinyl down into both sides and having it come out as clean as you like. So I just moved them down a little bit so that they'll both fall into painted area, and it works the same for the bottom one. Now I'm assuming, since these are drawn off of the decals, that the decals would work the same way, although I don't know why they gave you excess length here, because this just needs to, if it were a decal, it would need to be trimmed off. As it is, we just put tape over it and don't worry about painting it. But this, as you can see, lines up with the stripe on the top, and also on the wing, and this will give you an idea of what this full size or full side looks like. Now, of course, like I said, you put masking tape over the outer perimeter so you can get ready to paint. So let me get as much of this done as I can before it's ready to paint, and then I'll rejoin you then. And we're ready to paint the first round of stripes. I'm going to do as much as I can the first time without trying to bump into each other. Obviously, I've got the main stripe on the body that I can't do for a long time yet, until I get the cockpit in and the lighting in and all that stuff. But I can do both sides of the wings so long as I keep them up and elevated off the table so they have a chance to dry. I can do the bottom of this subassembly, which will leave me time to worry about playing with the top there after that's dry. And I can do the stripe that goes there and the bottom two stripes there. And you ask me what color I'm going to use. Well, I'm dipping back into the line of soon-to-be obsolete, or obsolete but soon-to-be hard to find polyscale colors, and using something called Seaboard Airline Orange. It's an orange, but it's a reddish orange, which I think is a pretty good match for the color of the decals. And I'm going to take this all out into the other painting room and paint it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the fun unveiling. I've got the coat of paint on these. The paint has dried at least a couple of hours, maybe an hour and a half. And now it's time to peel the tape off and see what we've got. Taking the outside painter's prog tape off first, working myself backwards from the outside in. Oh, that one got stuck. A little bit of premature unveilment here. Let's get this tape off. Okay. Now we're back down to having just what was on the template, what was on the okay, and off we come. Ooh, look at that sharp line. Look at that sharp line. This, my friends, is why I paint instead of using decals. That paint is in around every little nook and cranny. You can now weather this and it'll look like it was part of the ship instead of weathering over paper or film. Look at that. That's just pretty. Let me quickly go through and do the rest of them. Maybe with a little less pageantry, shall we say. And again, with this new orange vinyl, I am free to go a little bit quicker. Now I got a little bit of, if you can see that here, tiny little bit of bleed from under the tape. Let me take the X-Acto and see if I can. Yeah, I can chip some of that off, and all else fails, we do some weathering around that. So far so good. I haven't seen any big old, oh now, look what a liar I just made myself. Okay, got a bit of nastiness going on there. You can see, maybe you can't. Let's flip this, there you go, flip it. Okay, right in here you can see I've got some nastiness going on where the paint got down into the seams because I wasn't careful enough. I am going to remember where that is, and when it comes time to paint the rest of this with the camo gray that I'm using, I'll go back over this with a straight piece of tape and just try to touch that back up with the other color. But that was me not being careful enough. Let me get these last bits here. Now I have to go another round of these orange yet because obviously I haven't done any of the dotted lines that go up on here, and there's also the leading edge here that I've got to do, but I couldn't tape those off all at the same time, so that will be round 2 of the oranging. Let me get all this tape off of here. Okay, now there's 2 things I want to do with this because I have not uncovered yet the gray, the vinyl that's under the gray that's underneath that vinyl. So let me do these first. Oh, nice, pretty, pretty, good, nice. Oh, that's an ugliness there. I can fix that though. Now let me go through and pull these off so you can see what the dark gray underneath looks like. There you go. See, there's your whole idea of the gray with the orange. Now, I can see there is some touching up to be done right there. Okay, there you can see the all's well and good there. Now let me get this last bit off of here. Nice. Ooh, nice. Nice. Okay. Let's see how well these line up. That looks good. That looks good. That all lines up. Now, like I say, I've got these dotted line ones to do on the side, but I'm willing to call this a wonderfully successful line painting exercise. Let's go ahead and put this on the back. There. You get an idea of what a good chunk of the ship is going to look like. And for round 2 of the oranging, which I'm going to do the front stripe there, and I've got what I'm calling the dotted lines. I've got them taped off for this. So next time you see this, it'll all be painted.